are listening to Next Level Thinking on St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9.
Welcome back, listeners, to Next Level Thinking. I'm your host, Stephanie Hassett, and I have Caroline and Sana with me here today. For those who are just tuning in, we are discussing mindfulness today. So before the break, we discussed that mindfulness is a mindset, which has three very important elements: the here and now, doing something with intent, and non-judgmental. So what we're going to discuss during this next segment is how and why it's so important for us. Why is mindfulness important for us to use, and how can it benefit us?
Well, we discussed already that we don't want to miss out on life, right? So being in the present, looking around you, looking at the view, enjoying life, the positive things.
Yeah, and also, and how many likes on Facebook, that doesn't really matter later on in life. It's more the memory of that activity that matters more than the amount of likes.
Right.
So, make sure that you experience life to the fullest instead of through a camera lens or with your mindful of thoughts about the past or the future. Also with some moments that you kind of hit the pause button, like we said before.
Right. So kind of to not miss out on life.
Yeah, and also to help yourself to get more balance. So in that sense, mindfulness is seen as a tool to make your mind less shattered.
Okay.
To make your mind less all over the place and be able to concentrate better and to be able to experience less stress or anxiety.
So to be able to switch off the multitasking mode at times.
Yeah, sometimes you need
mindful.
to switch off mindfulness also because you cannot always be in the here and the now. You got to do stuff as well. So it's
You're
not
right.
something that you can do full time, but
Right.
it's more like the state of mind that you can do every now and then. So research really shows, and that's why it's also advised to use in psychotherapy or that some of the trainings can be really beneficial for people who are experiencing pain or suffering because it can improve your mental health. So that's a good part about the mindfulness. I think that's an important benefit of it.
Right. So your mental health, dealing with your scattered brain, and just being able to enjoy life.
Would you see it as a basic thing that we need in life, that mindset? Or is it just for people that are suffering pain or mental health issues?
I think we can all benefit from it. I think mindfulness is something we can all use to balance our lives. And I think people tend to do that already, right? We always look for something to find balance, whether it's sports, it's music, we always look for this mindset that kind of balances out our hectic and busy lives and all the things that we have to do and need to do with something that can kind of ease our mind and make us experience life also in a different way. I don't even want to say positive or better. I want in a different way than just being in that constant train of doing.
Yeah, for some people, mindfulness will also feel like, what are they talking about? Why do you need to talk about it? Like that's normal, right? That's something you just do. And some people just tend to do that automatically, or maybe not automatically in that sense of talking about mindfulness, but as just part of how they go through life. And that's great. For some people, it's just not something that spontaneously, or sometimes you get stuck in life because things become too busy or you become too stressed. And then it's more difficult to kind of step out of the vicious cycle that can occur at a certain moment where you start to think and then you're stuck in your thinking and then you're wondering, why am I thinking so much? And then you get upset about that and then you get depressed and then you stop doing the things that you like because, what does it matter? And then, then it can really be helpful to step out of it by practicing a different way of approaching life.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people that have a mindful mindset already. Maybe they were born with it. I think a lot of people in the Caribbean region have more a mindful mindset than
in Europe, maybe.
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting research. But in that sense, how I experience living in the Caribbean, indeed, is that we are we tend to be a little bit more mindful here because also, the environment kind of attracts that, and the lifestyle here also kind of attracts to sometimes be more mindful.
I think so, but I also think there is a slippery slope there in the sense that is it really always being more mindful, or is it just easier letting go and pushing things away and not confronting yourself with it? So because I think there's a difference there too between mindfulness, right? Mindfulness is not just okay, I'm
Let it
not going
be.
to care about anything anymore and I'll let it go.
No, you're not going to sing Let It Be all the time. No, for sure.
That is also not what mindfulness is. It is facing the things that are difficult as well and facing the things that are negative as well, but accepting kind of that is how they are at this point in time. Not ignoring them and saying, okay, they're not there, so let's just focus on the good things, but seeing that balance, seeing that both are there equally at the same time and that it's okay to be there.
And neither in a passive way, because it's also not about, okay, yeah, it is what it is, and yeah, that's then it. That can also feel kind of depressed, right? If I say it is what it is, yeah, whatever. And it is not that. Sometimes then mindfulness is more about what is that underlying emotion then that you're feeling with that. And what does that say? You want to do something with it, yes or no. So in that sense, it's also hitting the pause button on reflecting and becoming more in touch with what you're really feeling and thinking, and then deciding what you want to do with it instead of acting out of impulses of the first emotion that you're experiencing. Because most of the time we tend to react with anger, right?
Yeah, anger, frustration.
And that's what we show in our behavior. We're frustrated, but actually, if you really look deep down inside yourself, you're disappointed or sad, or you're feeling sad about what happened, and then you react with anger. So that's more the secondary emotions that we often see and experience. But if you really tap into what you're really feeling, it could be that you have to do something else than just reacting out of frustration.
So taking a mindful moment at a certain point like that, where you tend to emotions just overtake you and you think, okay, let me respond, to take a mindful step back actually and look at the situation, reflect on it, take time to really realize what you are feeling, what sensations are going through your body, and then respond. So we're actually saying, go back to the being mode sometimes to respond afterwards in your doing mode.
Yeah, you have to shift gear sometimes. And that's also the thing, right? We said before, we cannot do things at the same time. It's like riding in the car and that you're in first gear 1. That's the doing modus. And you cannot be in gear 2 at the same time. Right? And you have to shift the gear to the being modus every now and then you have to go to 2 and then go to 1 again. We have to shift gears every now and then in life to be able to balance. You cannot always drive in the same pace all the time.
No.
At a certain moment, you got to accelerate, then you got to slow down. And that's also with mindfulness, is that it helps you with that.
So slowing down in life, being mindful, but not avoiding the difficult things in life by slowing down. It's not like sitting there being passive and saying, okay, I just accept it the way it is.
Yeah, there's the funny movie from one of the apps that you can download for practicing mindfulness. And they say, you're not supposed to be a blob. Not a blob with just like, okay, whatever. No, okay, all is good. Life is good. No, you're not turning into a blob when you do it. But you slow down and later on you accelerate again.
Yeah. So it's not taking a different route with your car neither. It's not, okay, let me bypass that difficulty. Let me It's really, okay, well, it's difficult right now. Instead of what we tend to do, we speed up that car, right? And we want to speed through it.
Or take that bypass. Yeah.
Exactly. So we slow down. We say, okay, let's take it in a slower gear. Let's actually look at and experience what is going on.
Yeah, you learn to tolerate that difficult situation there as well.
Right.
Imagine going over a bump and you're speeding and then whoop, there you go in the air. And if you go around it, you almost, your car almost shifts or
topples over.
You don't want that. But if you slow down, you can take that bump.
Right.
Right?
Right. Exactly. Then all of a sudden it's manageable.
Exactly. So it's about how you approach it and then what kind of speed you take, what kind of direction you take. And actually the car analogy is pretty nice, right? Makes it simple.
Yep. So for all of us, mindfulness is something that we can use in our daily lives. It's something that we can use to deal with neutral moments, negative moments, positive moments. We can use it individually as a group, but it is a way of dealing with life overall. It's a mindset that we can use that can benefit us in how we approach life and how we experience life for ourselves. So in the last segment, we'll discuss a little bit more about the mindfulness techniques that you can use, because now we discussed what it is, why we need it, but we want to give you some more tips, tools, and tricks to actually do this for yourselves. We're not going to give you a complete training, but stay tuned for the next segment where we can explain to you how you can use mindfulness for yourself.
Next level.